Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Kickin' Bass TV. Today we're down in Wheat Ridge over at West Lake. We came down here initially to do a little ice fishing this morning, see if we could get into some more perch, but it looked like the last couple of days of warm weather ended up thawing out most of the water. So we're gonna grab our bait casters, head out here and see if we can get into our first open water bass of the season. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. All right guys, so we stopped by here the other day. We noticed that the west end of the lake still had a little bit of ice on it. So we grabbed our gear, came down here to see if we could catch a couple of perch. Now, as you can see, the sun's already starting to beat up that ice along the bank. And the last couple of days being in the mid 40s, combined with the fact that the overnight temps haven't been cold enough to refreeze, have left this pretty thinned out. We definitely don't recommend you trying this, but we popped a couple of holes. We had 2 inches of ice, seemed to be holding, and it didn't take long for us to get into some perch. But it also didn't take long to notice that that ice was deteriorating pretty quickly. Less than an hour out on the ice, and I noticed that that 2 inches was quickly turning into about an inch of ice and about an inch of slush and water. And when it got to the point where I literally couldn't lean over the ice hole to safely release the fish without feeling like we were gonna break through, that's when I decided it was time to pack it up, get everything off the lake while we still could do so without getting everything soaked. And while I don't recommend that you guys fish on thin ice, if you're gonna do so, just keep in mind that if you're fishing on a sunny day like this, the longer you stay out, the more chance you're gonna run of breaking through that ice, especially closer to the shore. So just keep that in mind. At any rate, we came back about a day and a half later, and the combination of the high winds and mid 50-degree temps had pretty much melted all that snow and ice and left us with nothing but open water on the lake. So we grabbed our bait casters and decided to see if we could get into our first bass of the year through the open water. Now, being that it is still wintertime and visibility is always a factor this time of year, I typically will be throwing 12 or 15 pound fluoro, but I found recently that a good alternative to the fluoro is this Suffix Pro Mix clear monofilament, which seems to have the same low visibility in the water, but a super high line strength, at least when we're fishing at colder temperatures. So we tied on a red craw imitation lipless crankbait, which is not only one of my go-tos pretty much year round, but it's good this time of year because those uncharacteristically warmer days that we've had in the high 50s, low 60s the last couple of days in a row, what that can do is it can trigger sort of a pre-spawn response out of some of the fish, where some of them, not all of them, will come up into the shallows at least for a portion of the day, whether it's in the morning to feed or in the middle of the afternoon when the sun is straight above them. But it will bring a percentage of the fish up active into the shallow water, and at that point you can start to use some of those methods to catch them earlier in the year. One of the reasons why this is one of my favorite baits to throw is because of its versatility. Now, I can catch bass year round with a lipless depending on how I work this bait through the column. One of the most effective ways to use this bait is to employ what is known as the yo-yo technique, which you've seen us used in previous videos. Essentially all you're doing is exactly what it sounds like. You're yo-yoing the bait up and down in the water column, which not only emulates an injured bait fish, but this time of year, it's a good way to slow down your presentation because the majority of these bass are still in a winter pattern. They are lethargic, they're sticking to deeper water, and they're just not as willing to chase as they would be in the spring or summer. So the yo-yo technique is a great way to keep your bait in that strike zone for the optimum amount of time. The reason I like to throw the cotton cordels is because I do utilize that yo-yo technique more often than not, and essentially that fatter body style just makes them drop a little slower through the water column on the fall. For that reason, they're a little more forgiving fishing around structure or shallower water, but they're also a little more susceptible for weeds, so they do each have their purposes. At any rate, both of the bass we caught today ended up getting pulled out of less than 5 feet of water, which shows that they are definitely up shallow early because of the warmer weather we've had the last couple of days. But I don't expect that to last. So hopefully you guys can get out, take advantage of it, and maybe get into your first bass in some of this early open water before it freezes back up. And that's going to do it for the video today, guys. A couple of solid 2-pound bass in the middle of the winter. We'll definitely take that. So if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and then hit that bell notification right next to it because that'll keep you up to date with all of our new videos. As always, I love to hear from you guys, so don't hesitate to leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And if you want to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, you can find us at Kickin' Bass TV Official. Until next time, guys, I'm D with Kickin' Bass TV.
Subscribe!